Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kavibhireeditam Kalmashapam Shravanamangalam Srimadaadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, recorded by M. Sri Mahendranath Gupta. In Bengali, he used to call himself Ma, and a couple of pseudonyms also he used. One is Mani, the other is Mohini Mohan, and sometimes he used to call himself one devotee, Ag Bhakta Bolite Chen, that means he himself. So, this is 1882 March. This was the first time M is meeting Sri Ramakrishna. M's life went through some kind of a tragedy, and he was feeling upset, feeling extremely unhappy, and it was said that he in fact wanted to end his life. He didn't want to live anymore, and he told his friend Sidhu, who advised him to go and visit the garden house and temple of Rani Rashmani. Rani Rashmani was a great devotee, as you know, and she had built the huge complex at the command of Mother Kali. She was going on a pilgrimage, and she had a vision of Mother Kali Bhavatarini, who said, "You don't need to go for the pilgrimage. You build a temple for me." And most interestingly, it is extremely strange how Rani Rashmani built a temple there, and in those days where there was a lot of rivalry amongst the devotees of Shakti, Kali, Shiva and Vishnu. In the present day, we can't really imagine that. In the 1880s, even amongst Hinduism, the Hindu sects, lot of rivalry was there. We talk about harmony of religions, inter-religious understanding, but there was a lack of intra-religious understanding, which means within the religion of Hinduism, there is a lot of rivalry, which happens in all religions. One very senior Christian monk told me in one of the interreligious conferences, smilingly, "Swami, our problem is not interreligious understanding, but how to find understanding among the various sects of Christianity itself." So many different sects are quarreling, even among the Muslims, Shia and Sunni and so on, and the Sufis are considered completely out of the orbit of Islam. So it happens in every religion. But religion goes on for a long time, then the real spirit of religion is lost, and the various small conceptual, ritualistic, philosophical, religious underpinnings, these become very important. And based on that, small groups and factions grow. In Hinduism, there is a huge rift between the followers of Shakti, called Shaktas, and all of them are Tantrists. And the followers of Vishnu, Narayana, were extremely pious people. Most of them were vegetarians, particularly in Bengal, this is rampant. Vaishnavas and Shaktas. Vaishnavas are hardcore vegans, vegetarians, and Shaktas, the followers of Shakti or Kali, were meat eaters, of course fish eaters. And in Bengal, Shakti is worshipped usually as Durga and Kali. These are two important deities. Shakti has so many forms, as you know. Saraswati is also a Shakti. She is the Shakti of Brahma, who is considered a very, very soft, sattvic devata. And the Shakti of Shiva is Parvati, and Bhairava, Kala, Mahakala, aspect of Shiva, has a Shakti who is Mahakali. And Kali herself has so many forms. Sri Ramakrishna also talks about it in the Gospel later on. Rudra Kali, Dakshina Kali, which is a very Soumya Murti, calm, benign, gentle, graceful. Dakshina Kali. Then you have the Raksha Kali, who protects, and Shmashana Kali, who is supposed to be extremely fierce. She comes in the form of terror. Swamiji also has a beautiful poem on this Kali the mother. Thou time the all-destroyer, come, O mother, come, who dares misery love and hug the form of death, dance and destruction's dance, to him the mother comes. So she comes and destroys, every shaking step destroys a world forever, he says. Kali comes as terror, Kali comes as fierce, in a fierce form, and she is a very embodiment of death. She dances her mad dance in the cremation ground. It is symbolic of our heart, when the heart is completely made a cremation ground, in which all your littleness, your narrowness, your egoism, your desires are completely burnt up. In that cremation ground, Mother Kali dances her mad dance. Churna hok, shartha shad man, hriday shmashan, nachuk tahate shama. That is a statement of Swami Vivekananda, a beautiful poem which he wrote. In English it is translated as, let Mother Shama dance there, nachuk tahate shama. So when the heart becomes a cremation ground in which are completely burnt all desires and smallness, littleness, yourself, and your ego is completely burnt to ashes, in that shmashana, cremation ground, the mother dances. Mano nasha deshe sada sancharantim bhaje pandya balam. About Meenakshi Devi of the Madurai temple in the southern part of India, there is a beautiful stotra by Agastya Krita Meenakshi Stotram. There he says, Mano nasha deshe sada sancharanti. In that desha, in that realm, where the mano nasha has taken place, the mind has been completely destroyed. Nishabda deshe sada sancharantim bhaje pandya balam. Nishabda deshe, when all noise has been quelled, when the mind has been completely stilled, chitta vritti nirodha has taken place, and mind becomes amani bhava, as in Vedanta, and the mind has been completely destroyed. The I, the individuality is gone. It is then the mother comes. It is very strange and surprising that Rani Rashmani built such a temple on the banks of the Ganges in Dakshineshwar. What is the temple like? The temple mainly is devoted to Mother Kali, the Shakti temple. And by the side of the Shakti temple, there is a Vishnu temple, Narayana. And just facing these two temples, there are 12 Shiva temples. So many aspects of Shiva, 12 of them, small temples. There's a huge complex of temples with a spacious courtyard having Shakti Mahakali as the presiding deity. Just by the side there is Narayana and the concept of Narayana Lakshmi. And in front you have the 12 Shiva temples. Shiva, Shakti and Narayana. Shiva is called Hara and Narayana Vishnu is called Hari. And most interestingly, Hari and Hara, although having completely different temperaments, apparently contradictory, are very, very close bosom friends. So when two people are extremely close to each other, a common saying in Sanskrit and Bengali and some other languages perhaps, Hari Haratma, Hari Haratma. Two Atmas, two selves apparently united into one Hari and Hara. So in this complex of temples with the Shakti and Narayana and Shiva, the huge courtyard there, Sri Ramakrishna is sitting in a corner in a room and balancing all these devatas, the various ideas and opinions and the various bhavas and attitudes, as it were. Those of you who have seen the Dakshineshwar complex will recall how Ramakrishna's room is just in the corner, diagonally placed, with the Shiva temples in one line and the Narayana temple to the left, and just by the side of the Shakti temple and the Kali temple. The Samanvaya, the harmony of religions and various sects which Ramakrishna spoke about all his life, is as it were physically demonstrated by his presence in a corner, balancing all these ideas, energizing them, rejuvenating them, filling them with special new spiritual fervor. Even physically he is placed there. Rani Rasmani temple became extremely famous because she was extremely generous to various sadhakas and saints and sadhus and monks who used to come as parivrajakas. Parivrajaka means a mendicant monk, a monk who does not stay in a particular place but keeps wandering about. A wandering monk or a mendicant monk. In English, it is translated as peripatetic monk. Peri is the English version of pari, means going round and round. Peripatetic. So many monks used to come, particularly during the season of the Ganga Sagara. You know, in Ganga Sagar, which is called the Sagar Dweep, also called the Manasa Deep, the Ganges is supposed to be meeting the ocean. There is a Sangama, and that's considered an extremely sacred place. very holy place, but you had to cross the ocean to be able to reach it. In those days, the turbulent ocean was not so easily negotiable, and people going there risk their lives. That was felt in that sense. Shab tirtho bar bar, Ganga Sagar Akbar. This is a proverb in Bengali. All the tirthas, the various places of pilgrimage you can go again and again, but Ganga Sagar only once. That was the old saying. Now you can go any number of times. You have launches, you have motorboats, you have facilities, and even about 40 years ago, this island, Mansadeep or Sagardeep, did not have any electricity, did not have any automobiles, no pollution, no noise, no huge electric bulbs. So beautiful, dark, peaceful, serene. When we used to go there for the first time, nearly about 40 years ago, we saw how wonderfully peaceful it was. Now no more. The roads have come, the communications have increased, automobiles are everywhere, and you can take a launch. On the top of it, you can take a vehicle and then move on. Times change. But the spirit remains. And it is said Kapila Muni is supposed to be the presiding deity of that place. Kapila Muni is one of the greatest of munis in the Indian tradition. Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi. This is the Bhagavan says in the Vibhuti Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. Among all the various siddhas, those who are illumined, I remain as Kapila Muni. Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi. He was the person, the great sage, who was the founder of the Sankhyan system of philosophy. Sankhya is one of the oldest systems, older than perhaps Vedanta itself. And the Sankhyan system was what Vedanta almost fully adopted. And rather than having a Bahupurusha, several Purushas, several selves, Vedanta integrated all of them into one. The idea of Purusha and Prakriti and Sankhyan Purusha being completely motionless, still, and Prakriti always alive and active, engaged in creation, sustenance and preservation. This idea, which is now very common in Vedanta and in Hinduism, we owe it to Kapila Muni. Even now, in the Kali image, you can see Shiva prostrate and Kali standing on the bosom of Shiva. This may appear very strange to people, how a wife is standing on the bosom of the husband and the husband is flat. Shavarupa Shiva, as if he is a corpse. Shavarupa means he is in deep samadhi, completely oblivious of the external world, and he is motionless and actionless. But lying down, he is looking at Kali. And Kali, standing on the bosom of Shiva, is performing all the acts of creation, preservation and destruction. Srishti sthiti loy kore ma katakhe heriye amar ananta brahmanda rakhen udara puriye sheki emni meyer meye. Ram Prasad. Ramakrishna used to sing this song. Srishti sthiti loy kore ma Katakkhe Kataksha means just by seeing. Shiva is looking at her, and the mother also, nonchalantly, just by a sight, by a glance, she is running the whole show of this universe of life and death, creation, preservation, and dissolution. Sri Ramakrishna had a vision when in Dakshineshwar, innumerable visions he had. And he was training Narendranath Datta at Dakshineshwar. Naren was just a boy, a teenager at that. How many kinds of sadhana he made him do, and he attained Siddhi in most of them. And when it came to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Ramakrishna would deny him Siddhi in that particular sadhana, because he did not want Naren to get absorbed in Samadhi and completely remain oblivious of the outside world. He said, this Nirvikalpa Samadhi has been granted to you, but it shall be locked up in a box and the key is with me. I shall not open it unless you have done my work. So Ramakrishna rarely used the word I and mine. Instead of I and mine, he used to say this place. In Bengali, Ami means I, Amar means mine. Instead of Ami and Amar, he used to say Ekhane, Ekhankar. Ekhana means this place. Because he never wanted to use the word I or mine. So he says, but in this particular context, he uses the word my work. My work means Kali's work. The work and the mission for which Naren came to this earth, that has to be fulfilled. For which Naren has to remain in a plane of consciousness in which he will not completely lose himself in the infinite, but although rooted in the infinite, constantly moving and living in the infinite, still he will feel compassion for the world of finitude like us and try to awaken the consciousness of the entire humanity. That is the purpose of Sri Ramakrishna's advent. So Naren came and reported to Sri Ramakrishna one day at Dakshineshwar, today I had a glorious vision, or perhaps it was in Kashipur. Sri Ramakrishna was very ill. So many kinds of visions he had. What was the vision? I saw a luminous inverted triangle, bright. Sri Ramakrishna said, oh, you have had a vision of Brahmayoni. I also had such a vision, and what is more, I saw billions of Brahmandas, universes, being created out of that yoni. তোর ব্রহ্ময়োনির দর্শন হয়েছে, আমারও হয়েছিল, আরও কি সেখান থেকে অনন্ত ব্রহ্মাণ্ড প্রতি মুহূর্তে প্রসব হচ্ছে. The mother is delivering billions of universes from that Brahmayoni. You can refer the verse in the Mundaka Upanishad. Yada pashyap pashyate rukmavarnam kartaramesham purusham brahmayonim tada vidvan punyapape vidhuya niranjanah purusham samyamupaiti. When the sadhaka, when the purusha, when the illumined soul, Rukmavarnam is a golden color. Brahmayonim, the source, yoni here means the source of Brahma, the creator God, which is identical with the mother. So mother is giving birth every moment to billions of universes, and she sustains them and she destroys them. Sri Ramakrishna had another wonderful vision. He saw an exceptionally beautiful young woman, and the woman slowly was seen to be carrying a child in her womb, and she gave birth to the child, and fondling the child, suckling the child in so many ways. Suddenly she took the form of Kali, Karalini, with tremendous beaming red eyes and with teeth coming out. She took the child in her hands and put her in her mouth, and then was crushing it and completely swallowing that child and laughing, attattahasha, terrible laughter. So Sri Ramakrishna said, my mother, Kali, she gives birth to millions of universes, Srishti creates them, then preserves them with great care and compassion and devotion, and finally destroys them also. Srishti Sthiti Laya. This is the Hindu idea of how God functions. Although we say there are three gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, it are three aspects of the same God. So Sri Ramakrishna constantly said, my Kali, Shakti, is the same as Brahman. So the Kali is standing on the bosom of Shiva, and Shiva is just looking at Kali. By a very look, Shiva, Shavarupa Shiva, lying prostrate, as if lifeless, but completely immersed in the infinite self, samadhi, in the transcendental plane of consciousness, is as it were activizing Kali, animating, activizing, empowering Kali by a mere look. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavan says, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Prakriti, which is Kali, is getting activized by my mere look. Adhyaksha. Adhyaksha nowadays means the head of a center, a principal, or man at the top. What does it mean? He doesn't actively engage in anything, just by a mere look. He empowers everybody to do their respective duties according to their karma. This is a very wonderful philosophy of Hinduism. Sri Ramakrishna worshipped Kali, as you know, and he realized that Kali and Brahman are identical. Kali Brahma Jene Marma Dharma Dharma Shab Chede Chi, Ram Prasad. Knowing that Kali and Brahman are identical, I have transcended both dharma and adharma. Dharma is also a bondage from the point of view of the transcendent. Jnana is also a bondage from the point of view of transcendent. If jnana taken as the opposite of ajnana, dharma is taken as the opposite of adharma, as one of the pairs of opposites, both of them are bondages. So Sri Ramakrishna said, with the thorn of jnana, take away the thorn of ajnana, and then throw them away both. In the Gospel, the Kathamrita we will read later on, Vasishtha was weeping of death of her children. Then Lakshmana perhaps is asking Ramachandra, Vasishtha was such a great sage, illumined soul. Why is he weeping like this? He is a jnani. Then Rama smiled and said, where there is jnana, there will be ajnana also. Go beyond jnana and ajnana. যেখানে জ্ঞান আছে সেখানে অজ্ঞান আছে, জ্ঞান অজ্ঞানের পারে যাও। জ্ঞান কাঁটা দিয়ে অজ্ঞান কাঁটাটাকে বার করে দুটি ফেলে দিতে হবে। He says in the gospel, in the Kathamrita, taking the thorn of jnana or knowledge, remove the thorn of ajnana or ignorance, then throw them away both. So this is the description of the temple of Dakshineshwar, and M is entering the temple complex. He was extremely depressed, unhappy, upset, and therefore he was in a mood to receive spiritual knowledge. Remember this. When you are upset and deeply unhappy, only then you become eligible for knowledge which is divine. This is a very strange paradox. Remember what happened to Arjuna? Arjuna was one of the greatest warriors of all time, as the general of the army of the Pandavas. He is going for battle. Just the war is just about to begin. Arjuna collapses, becomes terribly upset, throws away his weapons and says, I will not fight anymore. Not only that, starts weeping. Ashrupurna kulikshanam. The second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita begins with this sentence. Tam tatha kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulikshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. Vishidantam ashrupurna kulikshanam. Tears are rolling down his cheeks and intensely sorrowful and depressed. When the heart is stirred to its inmost depths, great ones unfold their best. Swami Vivekananda's poem. The wounded snake its hood unfurls. The desert air resounds the call of the heart-struck lion's rage. The cloud pours forth deluge strength when lightning cleaves its breast. When the heart is stirred to its inmost depth, great ones unfold their best. It's extremely interesting how only when you become terribly sorrowful, depressed, locked down, there is panic everywhere. There is fear, panic, sorrow, angst. Nothing really impresses you. You feel a deep sense of anguish and sorrow and misery deep in your heart all the time. What is going to happen? Will this lockdown and this panic ever end? This is the time when the Lord comes and then tells you, I am going to awaken you through my Kathamrita, my ambrosial words. This is the time for the study of the Lord's words. Like Arjuna, like Master Mashi himself. A person who wanted to end his life, terribly sorrowful, upset, deeply in anguish. Life loses its meaning, seeing darkness everywhere. And his friend, just to cajole him, said, come on, let us go. There's a beautiful garden of Rani Rashmani Bagan, where beautiful, fragrant flowers are everywhere, and the Ganges is flowing by. There was no talk of the temples at all, or Ramakrishna also. He said, wonderful is that place, so calm, so beautiful, with the holy Ganges flowing by, and wonderful fragrant flower garden. Come on, let us go. M goes there, and the person who was so upset wanted to end his life, gets caught in the elevating influence of the greatest avatar of the modern age, Sri Ramakrishna, and faithfully records them by the divine will of Ramakrishna himself, and gives peace and solace, pours as it were the ambrosia, the amrita, the nectar on thousands of millions of people all over the world like us. Premaika bindum chiradagdha chitte vishincha chittam kurunas sushantam. Swami Abhedananda's famous hymn on the Holy Mother Sharada Devi. Premaika bindum chiradagdha chitte. The chitta, my mind, my heart, is chiradagdha. It has been parched. It has been scorched. It is dry. I am just dying of thirst. Just give me one drop of the nectar of love. Prema eka bindu. One drop of prema I want, of divine love, and my mind will become eternally calm and peaceful. Kurunas sushantam. Sushanta means well peaceful, placid, absorbed in the divine self. This is the story of a person who, from the depths of the abyss of sorrow, agony, angst, disturbance, agitation, was roused to a position in which he threw this divine drops of ambrosia all over the world through his words. Holy Mother Sharada Devi had a vision when she was living near Belur Mutt, what is now called the Old Mutt, Neelambar Babu's garden house, Bagan Badi. She went to take bath in the Ganges nearby. Suddenly she saw the form of Ramakrishna, who had already passed away, the physical form, coming and merging in that holy waters of the Ganges. From somewhere, Narendranath came, Swami Vivekananda, took the waters and threw them everywhere. Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Ramakrishna. Wherever these drops fell, new civilization came up. Not only people got peace and joy, new civilizations came up. Hundreds of thousands of millions of such drops falling all over the universe, creating a new civilization. A civilization in which there is harmony and peace. A civilization in which there is joy and elevated thinking. A civilization in which there is emancipation and mukti from all narrowness and smallness, individuality and self-centeredness. This is the ambrosia, the Kathamrita we are trying to read. Study, contemplate, meditate, think. So he begins by saying, Ganga Tire Dakshineshware Kali Badi. So our format of this series of talks will be, I will read the original in Bengali, just to give a flavor to those who do not understand Bengali, have not read Bengali, but would still like to know what is there in the original. Any one of you can read it in English or Hindi or any other language. But the original flavor you should have, like the Bhagavad Gita, for example, if you read the original shloka in Sanskrit, the original verse, then translate into any other language, you will have the beauty of the original and taste this Gitamrita. Therefore, I will read the original, because the original is Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. As in the Gita, what did Sri Bhagavan Ramakrishna say in his own words, in original? And then, of course, I will try to explain in my own words. I will not follow any specific translation by anybody. In my own way, I will do a simple free translation in simple English. Ganga Tire Dakshineshware Kalibadi. The language is so simple as if you are reading any Indian language. Ganga Tire, on the banks of the Ganges, in Dakshineshwar, the Kali temple. Ma Kali Mandir, the temple of Kali. And remember, Master Moshe first positions himself. This is now very important. We call it coordinates. The latest trend in photography or in videography is what is called positioning oneself in latitude and longitude and in time. So you should have a camera in which this is displayed. So you will show where you are positioned and when you are positioned. Where and when, in space and in time. This is called the coordinates. What are the coordinates of M when he is going there? Basantakal, this is time. Ingreji, 1882 Kristabder, March Mas. Basantakal, the spring. And starting from mid-November up to February, March, it is so pleasant. It is supposed to be winter, although it is not the winter of the Western world, but the weather is very, very pleasant. It is 1882 AD. Krishtabda means the Christian era after Christ. 1882, and the month is the month of March. M is extremely careful as to clearly say when and where. ঠাকুরের জন্মোৎসবের কয়েকদিন পরে, remember I said Thakur means Sri Ramakrishna. Janmotsav is the birthday celebration of Ramakrishna. Even when he was alive, the devotees used to celebrate his birthday in a special way. Kayakdin pore, Sri Ramakrishna's birthday usually comes by the end of January or early February. শ্রীযুক্ত কেশব সেন ও শ্রীযুক্ত জোসেফ কুকের সঙ্গে 23শে ফেব্রুয়ারি বৃহস্পতিবার ঠাকুর স্টিমারে বেড়াইছিলেন। তাহারই কয়েকদিন পরে 23rd February, Thursday, Sri Ramakrishna has gone in a steamer ride over the Ganges with Sri Keshav Chandra Sen and Sri Joseph Cook. And a few days later, that means it should be very early March, 23rd of February, and if it's a leap year, it will be 29 days, or if not a leap year, it will be 28 days, perhaps a week or 10 days later, early March 1882. Thakur steamere bedaiya chilen, that means he was going on a ride, a trip in the steamer. That was on 23rd of February. M says he met the master going to Dakshineshwar temple garden a few days later, maybe about a week or 10 days. Shanda Hoi Hoi. See how he clearly describes every little detail of when and where. It's become very common nowadays in videography and photography, as I said. They call it geotagging. Geotag means you clearly show the latitude and longitude so that we can clearly pinpoint you in position, in space, and also the time. Those of you who are accustomed to seeing the Google map, from Google map you can clearly find out where is what. Suppose you want to visit Belur Mutt, go to Google, ask for the Google map of Belur Mutt. If you zoom it sufficiently, you can see every little detail of Belur Mutt because they have satellite pictures. Remember, our Earth is a round body, we all know that. It's a kind of a globe, and we have satellites going around. And constantly pictures are being taken and they are available in the Google. Now the Google is a great God, the omniscient Hiranyagarbha, which is the repository of all knowledge. If Google had been a conscious entity, then it is called Hiranyagarbha or the Virat. For anything you go to Google. So those of you who have seen the Google map will know how the space, position, the coordinates can be clearly fixed and identified. So Master Maharishi is positioning himself. This has been old tradition in India. When we do Sankalpa, resolve for the puja or various rituals, the Vedic rituals, you should clearly say where you are and which time you are in. What is the Manvantara? There are cycles. Kalpa, Manvantara. Bharatavarshe, Bharatakhande, Meroho, Dakshine Parshe, Shatabde. I am in Bharatakhanda and I am the side of Mount Meru, and which place you are in, and what is your Gotra, what is your Sutra, and what is the Veda you belong to, what is the time of the day in which you are doing it. Everything is clearly specified in the Sankalpa. There is a Mahasankalpa running to several pages in which you identify your position, your place, and the time, yourself, your name, your Gotra, your Vedic Parampara, and which Rishi you belong to, and then that person who I am now performing this ritual, this puja, this yajna. That has been old Indian tradition. So Master Maharishi is following that tradition. Shanda Hoi Hoi. This is a peculiar usage in Bengali. Those of you who are not accustomed to this will be slightly surprised. When something is repeated twice, usually you think it increases the value. If you multiply x with x, it becomes x square. A multiplied by a becomes a square. 3 multiplied by 3 becomes 3 squared, which is 9. 9 is, of course, much larger than 3. So here Shanda Hoi Hoi. Shanda Hoi means dusk or Sandhya is just happening. Sun is just setting. The dusk is just coming in. Dawn and dusk are the beginning of the day and the end of the day. Now night will set in. The moon will rise. Sun is setting, we say. But strangely in Bengali, hoy hoy means ekhono hoyni. Amar jor jor. Jor means fever. If it is fever, it means fever square, jor square. But in Bengal it means square root of jor. Shonda hoy hoy, মানে হচ্ছে সন্ধ্যা এখনো হয়নি, হতে যাচ্ছে, just it is beginning to be dusk. This is a strange usage you should note. Shandha hoy hoy, that means dusk has not exactly come upon the earth. The sun is just setting. It is still some daylight is there, but almost the daylight is coming to a close. That is the meaning of Shandha hoy hoy. ঠাকুর শ্রী রামকৃষ্ণের ঘরে মাস্টার আসিয়া উপস্থিত, এই প্রথম দর্শন। Master Moshe came and peeped into Ramakrishna's room. This is the first meeting with Sri Ramakrishna. What did he see? See the description. So beautiful, extremely accurate, clear, simple. দেখিলেন, he saw, এক ঘর লোক নিস্তব্ধ হইয়া তাহার কথামৃত পান করিতেছেন। এক ঘর লোক, ঘর in Bengali means a room. In Hindi, ghar means a house. Usually in Bengali, ghar means the room, a small space in which one person lives. Ek ghar lok, that means that room is full of people. What are they doing? They are quietly listening. Nistabdha means stabdha. Nistabdha means quiet, not speaking, not making noise, attentive, keenly listening to the Kathamrita, the ambrosial words, the nectarine words of Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna. Thakur তক্তপোষে বসিয়া পূর্বাশ্ব হইয়া সহাস্যবদনে হরিকথা কইতেছেন। ভক্তেরা মেঝের বসে আছেন। তক্তপোষে বসিয়া পূর্বাশ্ব হইয়া. Taktaposh is the mattress. Those of you who have seen Sri Ramakrishna's room at Dakshineshwar will recall. Those who have not seen can see in the photographs. And we pray and wish that you will have a vision of Sri Ramakrishna's room soon when the lockdown ends. There are two cots. One is a slightly bigger cot in which Ramakrishna slept, and a smaller one sitting on which he used to talk to the devotees. There were no unnecessary furniture, no table, chair, books where he went and wrote. He never read any book. He never wrote anything. He talked and talked. He spoke, talked, sang, danced, and poured his compassion on everybody, elevated the consciousness of anybody who came anywhere near him. Taktaposhe Boshia, on the small cot, he was sitting there, and what was he doing? Purvashya hoiya, he was facing the east. Sahasravadane harikatha koitechen. This you will find repeatedly in the Gospel, in the Kathamrita, Sahasravadan. Hasya means smile, joy, laughing. Vadan means the face. His face was lighted by a divine smile. You can never see Sri Ramakrishna with a morose face. Holy Mother Sharda Devi beautifully said, তাকে কোনো দিন Bishonna dekhilam na. I've never seen him being depressed and upset at any time. Whatever be the situation, sings and dances, laughing all the time, full of joy. Anandamay Purush. Master Mashi will say later on, Aapni khub Anandamay Purush. You are full of joy. You are a joyful person. And he says, Aapni ekjon mojar lok. It's a very simple, expressive Bengali. Moja, it's a common word in Hindi also. Moja means something which is very joyful. You play with it. Normally it is associated with worldly joy, worldly happiness. But it is also applicable to divine happiness. Mojulo amar manu brahmara. Kamalakanta's song Ramakrishna was fond of singing, oh my mind, the bee of my mind, like a brahmara, like a bee. Come on, mojulo, majaluto. Be happy, be joyful. How? By drinking the nectar of Mother Kali's lotus feet. Oh my mind, you bee, you are now drinking of the nectar of the Vishaya, of various worldly enjoyments. And after drinking deep of Mother Kali's lotus feet nectar, all the worldly enjoyments will appear to be tinsel, trash, worthless. Vishaya madhu tuchha holo kamadi kushum shokole majlo amar manu bhramara shama pada nil kamale kali pada nil kamale Shama pada nil kamale. So Kali pada nil kamale, Shama pada nil kamale, Majulo amar manu bhramara. This is a great appeal to us. Constantly engaged in worldly talk, worldly discussion, and worldly enjoyments. People say, I don't know how to spend time. So I go on watching the television and listening to various film songs. Some more time has to pass. I play cards. Kamalakanta tells his mind, oh mind, why are you wasting time drinking the nectar of the worldly flowers? Come on, drink of the nectar of the wonderful lotus flower of Mother Kali's feet and Shama's feet. These are the great elevating sentiments Sri Ramakrishna is very fond of giving us. Majulo, moja. M says to Sri Ramakrishna, Aapni khub mojar lok. Anybody coming to you catches this beautiful wave of bliss. This is one thing we should practice. See, the life is so short. We don't know how long we are going to live. Everybody is panicky. And this infection is spreading everywhere. Nothing serious will happen to the world anyway, but there's a panic of fear of death. How long are you going to live? 100 years at the most? And many of us have passed mid-age. The least that we can do to serve this world is to smile. Let us smile, let us be happy. Whatever be the problem, there are some people who have simply forgotten to smile. All the time, they are so depressed. In Bengal, it is called Pechar Mato Mukh. Pecha means the owl. Owl sees very much in the dark, but in daytime it can't see. It is totally blind. Divandha. So Pechar Mato Mukh, all the time they'll be depressed. And we ask them, how are you? Hey, some more going on. Why are you crying? Life will go on like this. Be happy. Smile. And remember, happiness is as contagious as sorrow. If you go to a person who is weeping all the time, crying, weeping, grumbling, blaming others, you come back depressed. You go to a hospital where patients are groaning and crying and weeping, shouting, constantly blaming everybody. Half an hour stay in the hospital, you come back, you feel so upset and depressed. You go to a place where people are so happy, smiling. Not artificially smiling, but naturally, joy is welling up from within. And this can happen only by thinking of God, who is Ananda Swarupa. Remember, our scriptures repeatedly say the Brahman is Ananda Swarupa. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brahman is Vijnanam, knowledge, and Ananda, joy, bliss. Not worldly bliss, but spiritual bliss. Great joy. Anandadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante anandena jatani jivanti anandam prayantyapi sambhishanti tad brahmeti. From Ananda all of us are born, in Ananda all of us rest, and into Ananda all of us go, and this Ananda is Brahman. Ko hevanyat ka pranyat yadesha akasha anando nasyat. Who will be here to breathe and to live if the entire akasha, the space, is not filled with ananda or joy? These two are from the Taittiriya Upanishad. The Upanishad, the Rishis were full of joy. Swami Bhajananandaji, one of our illustrious great monks of the order, once told me, you see, the word dukkha occurs nowhere in the Upanishads. Perhaps we have learned about dukkha from Buddha. There is only one place in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, toward the very end, dukkhantam. End of dukkha is mentioned. Upanishad rishis were always joyful, talking about ananda. If the entire akasha is not covered with ananda, bliss, who will be here to live and breathe? So here is an incarnation like Sri Krishna, whose birth was celebrated yesterday, the Janmashtami, Leela Purushottama. In the midst of war, terrible war is about to break up, and is now going to begin. Arjuna is terribly depressed, throws away his weapons and collapses in the mid of the battlefield. What is Sri Krishna doing? Prahasanniva Bharata. This is Vyasa's statement. As if he is gently smiling. Is it the occasion to smile? And it was. Sri Krishna is all the time playing pranks, smiling, delightful, and giving joy to everybody else. Just he is an embodiment of Ananda Ghana Murti, Prema Ghana Murti, exactly like Sri Ramakrishna, Ananda Ghana Murti. So, by looking at his picture, constantly engaged in divine talk, divine experiences, divine conversation, and sharing the divine bliss which he is feeling with everybody else. It is so extraordinarily contagious. So let us have this divine contagion by going through the description of M. Master Mahashaya as recorded his immortal work, the magnum opus, Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Let us slowly proceed. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadhrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.